My name is Zodwa. Yeah, and my friends call me Zoe. So I don't know. I used to when I was in senior school, I was very good at literature. I did literature in English, and part of it is poetry. So I used to. There was a stage in my life where I was very much into poetry. Not anymore these days, but so there was the word poetic, and I replaced it with Zoe, and then instead of poetic, it's zoetic. And then only to find when I Googled that zoetic is actually a word. It means something important or vital to life. And I was like, I struck gold. Design is important and vital to life. In life, everything is designed, either by nature or by man. You work into a space, it's by design that you have fluorescent lights to light up the entire room. You have porcelain tiles on the flooring. You have wallpaper to add texture, to add visual aspects to a room, all those things. Everything is by design. So I thought it was a nice connect there. Yeah. Hi, my name is Zodwa Ramore. I'm a designer specifically an interior architect based in Motswana, operating in and around Gaborone. I have close to 10 years experience post-graduation, and my main focus has been residential design, but I've had a few commercial projects, a few hospitality projects, but my main focus, my main clients have been residential. My approach as a designer, I would say it's very user-centric. User-centric meaning it's based off user experience. You firstly delve into the research of who your end user is. I'll give you an example. You have two clients, residential clients. Their user experience of the same space, it's never going to be the same. Everything from who they are as a person, their profession, how many children they have, how they socialize, how they entertain. That's user experience at the end of the day. How you interact with a space is very important. So a client may say, I'm a single woman, I'm a corporate woman. That design is going to be very different from somebody who says, I'm a stay-at-home mom, I have 5 children, I am at home most of the time. The same goes for commercial projects. If you have 2 retail projects, they're going to give you 2 different briefs, and those briefs at the end of the day, they will determine the outcome of the design. So that's where my philosophy comes in. You take each project as it comes, and when you study and research into who your client is and what they want, and at the end of the day, it informs your final design and how you implement it at the end of the day. Yeah. How my passion is filled. It's a lot of things. When I was very young, I started having this passion of figuring how things work. Firstly, you'd wonder that box TV that we used to have, the one that was not as flat these days, what's at the back of it, and things like if I notice something like people who are building our house. If, let's say, for example, they're using a face brick instead of plastering the outside, how does that, what's the long-term effect of that? And I think that curiosity kind of determined my career choice as well. I didn't have the strongest career guidance when I was growing up, so I think it was more passion based to say, oh, I've always been interested in design and how things work, so it could be interesting to see this through. I think Botswana are aware, not very aware, but they are aware in a sense that they acknowledge that there's a gap of their knowledge of what should happen to their homes, to their offices, to a point where they know they need to pick up the phone and call Zodwa, say, Zodwa, we need 1, 2, 3, 4 designed. And the nice part is that we have these Netflix shows. We have, even on DSTV, I've seen a couple of shows where they work towards sensitizing people towards the design professions. But specifically to interior design, I'd say people still need a bit more information on the design process, what it entails, what they should expect. And then I'd say what the services that I'm currently offering, I've realized of late that there's a mismatch in what people expect at the end of the day and what I'm offering, in a sense that I used to only offer design services, and then clients would say, okay, you've offered the design services, now who's going to actualize the design, who's going to make the fit out? And then at some point it was way beyond my capabilities. I didn't have carpenters, painters, electricians, tilers. So over the years I've assembled that team to say, okay, if I did a mood board for you for all your finishes, these are all the artisans, all the professionals who are going to make the fit out. So we provide sort of a wholesome design for our clients to say it's not only design, it's also the project management, is also the actualization of the project from start to finish. And then most people will say, okay, if I have my own electrician, if I have my own carpenter, I don't want you to offer that service. We always say that our designs come with details as well. I'll give you an example. I'll take a mood board and I'll give a sample. The mood board will give you an idea of the finishes that we have for the project, right? A mood board will sample all the materials. Let me just show you one sample. So if I do a mood board for a client, I'll take the existing spaces. I was doing mood board for the formal lounge and for the pause area. I will sample the furniture, the fabrics, the lighting schedule, even things that are fixed like ornaments that go on the wall. And with this mood board, I go as further as selecting the actual fabric that will go. Say, for example, things like upholstery for the lounge chairs. I will be specific and say, I'm going to order this fabric for you to reupholster the chairs that you already have. And then things like curtains, I'll be very specific and I'll show you the curtains and say, this will be, for example, a lace. This can be our lace curtain, and then to create the voile, and then we have the other curtain that goes underneath, and all those options as well. And then we can have a patterned fabric for them as well, and then we actually give them the exact fabric that we are going to order. So it helps the client as well visualize the end product, to also help them decide whether they will like it, because design is very subjective. Even though you've given me a brief and says, "Oh, I want 1, 2, 3," what I propose may not necessarily be what you're expecting or what you appreciate. So in a few instances, we've had to make few design iterations to say, okay, that was proposal A, now this is proposal B, how do you like it? And then with that, if you do approve at the end of the day, then we can go ahead with pricing and installation. Yeah. When I was in school, I had this thing of, leaving things to last minute and then trying to force yourself to work under pressure. When I came into the real life workspace, that did not work. So I've approached more of a time blocking strategy where I time block my schedule to say from 10 to 11:30 I'm going to be working on this project, and then from 11:30 if I have a call scheduled or a Zoom meeting scheduled, I'm going to block it in, knowing that I create a flow from, I know when I'm best productive, let's say in the morning, and then my meetings, I schedule them to a time when I've given myself a break from office work. And then that time scheduling as well allows me to block in things that enhance productivity as well. Things like going to the gym. I know that if I want to have a productive end of day, I schedule my day towards end of the day. So I know that, okay, if I don't finish my work, if I don't do 1, 2, 3, then I don't go to the gym. So it's kind of sort of, it's a hack in a way that it forces me to be more productive than when I have nothing to look forward to. I think that's helped. And then productivity as well, it's learning to manage your health and your awareness, to say, if I'm not healthy, if I'm stressed out, I know that my work is going to suffer. And giving an example of burnout, when I go consecutive days when I'm working under pressure and I don't give myself enough of a break or enough time to spend with family or to just give myself time to breathe, I know that I usually reach a point of it's hard to concentrate. The creativity output as well suffers. So it's as well as knowing that health is important, scheduling your time is important, not overdoing it as well. The first 5 years of working, there were times when I would knock off the office at 11 p.m., at 1 a.m., trying to work myself on that pressure. But that eventually affects how your body reacts onto the next day. And if you carry off that slag from the previous day onto the next day, then eventually you're going to reach that point of burnout. So I think it's an evolution process where you learn as you go, So it's a trial and error effect where when you know that something works for you, you tend to do more of it. And when you see that, me staying up until 1 a.m. didn't do wonders for me, then you learn to stay away from that. COVID was rough, huh? Yeah, it was rough in a sense that never would you have imagined a situation where you are physically not able to go to your office. Even the circumstances, I remember that time I had a site in Francistown. It was a whole fit out and everything. We couldn't physically go. And then the client also had, I had deadlines for design submissions and everything. I couldn't go to the office to complete work. I had to physically carry my computer to at least try work from home. And after a couple of months, it became, it didn't make financial sense to have an office anymore. Why have something when you can't physically go? Why pay for it? So we ended up closing office. Once we closed office, productivity suffered. We couldn't submit projects on time. Even the projects that we had on site, they literally had to pause. Nobody could go to site. So I think it was a wake-up call to say, your workflow, the kind of people you have in your team, your preparedness, and things like your insurances. If you can't go to the office, what do you have? What are you going to use to pay for your fixed costs? Things like rent, things like a telephone bill. The service provider doesn't say there's COVID, so you are using the internet, you still have the telephone line, you're going to pay for the telephone line. Your landlord is going to say it's your office. If you don't pay rent, who's going to pay for that space? So it's also to say, when you're managing your finances as well, have that leeway to say, okay, I have enough in savings or enough cash flow. If something happens, maybe for the next 6 months or for the next year, you are covered. So you are more aware of how you use your finances, knowing that it is possible that something like COVID could happen, And then also it also made me enhance my skills of communication, to pick up the phone and tell a client, I can't go to the office, I'm sorry. I need a 2-week break because this and this has happened. And because this has happened, I can't meet that deadline. And you just apologize, or you give a discount or a rebate of some sort to a client to say, this is the situation, and going forward, we can address it this way. Yeah. I think another thing I learned from COVID as well was adapting. I've learned to take things as they come. I've since then also added online services where we can consult online, Zoom, Skype, and other online services, where I had a client call me and say they actually gave me a video walk around. We made a video call, and they were actually able to give me a walkthrough of their property, and I was able to give advice. That's consultation. That's a billable hour. So it's another services that we're able to offer our client. And then the other thing is also collaborating with other professionals. If I'm not able to go to a site visit in Francistown, and I know another professional in Francistown, I say, hey, I have a problem. I have a site that I need to measure in Francistown. Are you able to go to this location and take the measurement for this space and then email it back to me? So that kind of collaboration is also important, as well as, sharing context of, if an artisan is very good at upholstering or installing wallpaper, and they are available to help me with a project in Maum, I don't have to incur the extra costs of hiring somebody here who probably charge me extra for accommodation, for the travel expenses and everything. So I think collaboration as well is important in that aspect. Yeah. And then to future-proofing ourselves, I think it's diversifying services available. Like I said before, we used to offer design services only. But when you diversify to say, okay, now we install cabinetry work, now we install wallpaper, now you offer painting and electrical services, you've diversified your service offering to more client base and more revenue. So even that works as well to a marketing point to say, people know that, oh, that design company also does this service as well. And then it also we also provide a sort of a one-stop service for our clients where we can. Other projects are far beyond our capabilities, and we just say, you know what, at this moment we can't carry this, and then we suggest another professional who are able to help with our potential clients. My advice to upcoming designers and those aspiring to be designers is to know your craft, know your offering. If you're going to offer design services, know your craft and let your craft speak to you to a point where you're so good that people can't ignore you. If you're going to offer renderings, make sure it's the best possible render that you're going to offer a client. If you say you're going to offer furniture to a client, make sure that your carpentry work, your upholstery work is far beyond your potential. Make sure that you are good and that you are continuously growing. I've had this thing where the softwares that I use currently, we are not taught at university. Our lectures just give us suggestions to say, if you want a 2D software, try this. If you want a 3D software, try this. If you want a plugin for your render software, try this. And most of what I know today, I learned from YouTube tutorials. I got online and I actually Googled V-Ray for SketchUp. Now I'm learning Lumion and say, I want to improve my skills. I want to improve my renderings. I'm even now learning not just to offer 3D renders as still images, but as a video reel. So a client, I can give them a walkthrough of the property that I've designed for them. So when you know your craft and you are continuously improving what you know about your craft, it's easy to stay relevant in the industry. It's easy for clients to refer you to the next client when they know that what you're offering is good and it's value for money as well. And then the other thing would be to network as much as possible. Go to those conferences, go to those lunch meetings. Even when you are going to have coffee, always have a business card ready. You never know who you're going to meet. And then always try to look your best as possible. Even if you're going to the shop, you never know who you're going to run into. And yeah, that's about it. Yeah. I want to make furniture. I've had this dream that by your life trajectory, I've had this thing for fashion, like actual what people wear, what they clothe themselves with. So that's me in another life. But now I want to do fashion. Furniture. I want not just to manufacture usable furniture, but bespoke, custom-made furniture as per each client. A client who lives in OD, who has 2 kids, is going to need different furniture from a corporate client, a bachelor who's living in I Towers who wants to finish their apartment. So all those things, imagine if I could capitalize on making custom-made furniture for each of these and having my own warehouse and yeah. As Zoetic Solutions, you can find us on Facebook, on Instagram. On Instagram, we are Zoetic Interiors, I think. And then on Facebook, it's Zoetic Solutions. And then we also have a website, zoeticinteriors.net. That's where you can find us.